just finished the off-season sins of Kyle Shanahan. The list started with him blowing a lead in the second half of the Super Bowl. Regular season starts, they beat the Jets, they lose to the Vikings. That's not a sin. The Vikings are really good. Next week, they go to the Rams and blow a 10-point fourth quarter lead. And that's the first of 3 that they end up blowing in the first 10 games of the season.
And Iggy, to a crummy team.
Crummy team. Missing a bunch of players.
Crummy team. Continuing to be a crummy team. Iggy.
Yeah, it's like the Niners wanted to use the injury excuse for themselves. We don't have Christian McCaffrey. Oh, my God, we don't have Dre Greenlaw. They didn't have Puka Nacua, Cooper Kupp, and a bunch of players on defense, and they still won. The Rams.
Right.
Yeah. So that was embarrassing. And it's an extension of how they lost the Super Bowl.
And I'd like to say one thing. That was the first clue that this incarnation of the 49ers is not a good team. We didn't know it, but losing that game was the first indication that this is not a good team. And for everyone watching, this is not a good team.
Right. So they struggled through the first half of the season. They get to the bye week. People still making excuses for them. Look, they've been a complete circus all year. They've had nothing but drama and bad luck. But Christian McCaffrey's coming back, and they're right in the thick of it at 500. This team's going to go on a run. McCaffrey comes back, and Kyle Shanahan immediately overuses him and buries the 2 young running backs, Mason and Garendo, who carried the rushing offense through the first half of the season and did a really good job, particularly Mason.
Okay.
As a result, the offense gets worse.
This is a cardinal sin. We need to linger over it. He got back McCaffrey, and clearly a lot of his offense goes through McCaffrey. And he goes, I got McCaffrey back. I can do this again. As opposed to, is McCaffrey up to carrying the offense the way he did last season? Kyle doesn't even seem to notice. So he puts McCaffrey in. Iggy, in the last game, per yards per carry was 2.8 or 2.9. It was pathetic. It was under 3. I mean, he's not yet able to get that burst and go through the line of scrimmage to the next level. Everybody sees it. Kyle must see it, but he's so stubborn. Again, he says, no, this is the guy I want. So here's what he does. Let's forget Garendo for a minute. He takes out Jordan Mason, who was a mainstay of the offense through the first part of the season. And Iggy, he did a beautiful job. He's a pleasure to watch. And so he leaves him on the and insults him. I mean, how can you not feel insulted when you become an asterisk when you were the main text? How can you not? And I would imagine hurt his confidence. But now he goes through McCaffrey, who can't do it, and hurt his confidence when there were so many other interesting ways he could have done it. You want to play McCaffrey? Fine. Use them both. Put them both in the backfield. Get Juszczyk off the field because he does nothing. Get him off the field. Put the better player in. Put in Jordan Mason and confuse defenses. You can throw screen passes to McCaffrey. You can have him running routes. You can have him do all kinds of things, but the up the middle running goes to number 24. I'm a football idiot, and I can see that. But Kyle is so stubborn. He didn't do it. Now, he may do it in the next game, but he didn't do it in 3 games. And Iggy, it's a very bad look for that coach. And I want to say, players notice. I've been in a million locker rooms. They're sitting there saying to themselves, what is he doing? What happened? What happened? What do they call him, Mason? JP or something?
Yeah, Trent Williams, just a couple of months ago, said that he reminded him of Marshawn Lynch on the record.
Yeah, Marshawn Lynch. And they're sitting there. They must think, we might stand a better chance with Mason or with both of them, but he's not doing it. And they're probably asking, why? Why is he losing games? And they talk about, well, he's getting into shape. You don't get into shape in the middle
spring training
of the season. It's not spring training. You got to be in shape. When you're in shape, you play more. But he's not in shape, and you don't keep giving him the ball. Iggy, this is one of his biggest sins. And what he's done to those two. You described McCaffrey after the game in Green Bay, how he sat at his locker with his elbows on his knees, staring into space. That poor kid must be wondering, am I ever going to be Christian McCaffrey again? He must be wondering about his future. It's a tragic look. And I put it on Kyle. He didn't have to put that kid in that position. He's there not to hurt his players. He's there to boost them up. And there are ways he could have boosted Christian, and he didn't.
I mean, just look at this. They played Seattle last week and scored 17 points, and that was with the Christian McCaffrey offense that he shouldn't be using. October 10th, they played Seattle in Seattle and scored 36 points without Christian McCaffrey. That just shows you that Kyle Shanahan is misusing the talent at his disposal. He had a better handle on it a month and a half ago than he does now.
I don't think he's stupid. I don't. No. I don't think he's stupid, but I think he gets in his own way, and I think he's stubborn. And, I've been around many people in my life much brighter than I am. And one of the qualities that I admire wisdom and I admire open-mindedness, rethinking things, listening to other people, listening to yourself, looking in the mirror. I admire that. And I admire people like that. And people who aren't like that, I don't want to be around.
Okay, more sins from the season. He blew those leads. He buried Mason. He's stubbornly sticking with Kyle Juszczyk and using McCaffrey too much before he's ready. Then there was that fight in Tampa Bay, which was embarrassing. Kyle Shanahan could have come away from it looking like a great leader by saying, not taking sides. But he took sides, and he took Debo's side.
Explain the fight. What happened?
Okay, so Tampa Bay, the Niners are winning in the fourth quarter. Jake Moody misses his third field goal attempt of the game. He's made two, but he's missed his third. The Niners are still up by, I believe, 3 points. And Debo Samuel walks over to Jake Moody on the sideline and tells him to lock in, maybe more. That's what was reported. The long snapper comes to defend Jake Moody, tells Debo Samuel, you don't think he understands that? You don't think he's trying? Debo Samuel gives Tabor Pepper a baby punch to the throat and walks away. That was the fight. And the Niners end up winning.
Okay. Who said it was a baby punch?
Kyle.
Yeah. First of all, you keep your hands to yourself. He didn't need Debo. Neither of them needed Debo to tell him he needed to do better. You think he didn't know? You think he wasn't trying? That wasn't going to help him. Then the long snapper, what's his name?
Tabor Pepper.
Pepper stands up for the kicker, which is the right thing to do.
Someone
had to. Stood up for a teammate. Mm-hmm. And then Debo puts his hands on him. First of all, who the hell is Debo to do it? This is the coach's job. Mm-hmm. And is Debo having such a great season that he could talk to other people about underperforming? You keep your hands off him. But then say what Kyle did.
Kyle Shanahan definitely took Debo Samuel's side by saying that Tabor Pepper overreacted and that Debo Samuel was just trying to hold his teammates accountable, which is okay. Yeah.
In a case like that, the coach stays neutral. Mm-hmm. You don't play favorites. You don't crush your long snapper publicly. You want to talk about it, you do it privately. He took sides. He went on the side of Debo and made this guy seem like he did wrong. That's not the right thing to do. What he should have said, it was just an incident. Things like this happen on football fields all the time. It's football players being football players. We all made up. We all laughed about it. And we moved on. What would have been so hard for that? But again, as opposed to unifying his team, he creates divisions on his own team and plays favorites and has bad judgment. That's one of his biggest sins, Iggy, what he did that time.
Yeah, absolutely. And then finally, continuing to overemphasize Debo Samuel in the offense. Since Debo Samuel did that, to Jake Moody in the last 2 games, he has 11 targets and he's caught 5 passes and gained 42 yards from scrimmage. He's done absolutely nothing, and he's been featured prominently in the offense to the detriment of the team. And that's on Kyle.
As he was in the Super Bowl.
Yep. And it all comes full circle. That was one of the original sins, and we didn't even list it. 11 targets for Debo in the Super Bowl. Maybe if he had 2, 2, and 9 went to other players such as Jawan Jennings and George Kittle, they win that game.
Yeah. I don't know what the love affair with Debo Samuel is, but let's come back to the Green Bay game. The pass, it was a nice pass. He had it in his hands, Iggy. It went through his hands and got intercepted. That was 100% on Samuel. It wasn't on the quarterback. It was 100% on him. And you keep going to him? I don't get it. Here's the thing. He used to be one of the most dynamic players in the league. He used to be almost at the level of Lamar Jackson.
Mm-hmm.
But he's not anymore. Yes, he's not anymore. He's really not. And this is another thing. Kyle doesn't recognize reality. He's taken a lot of hits in his life, Samuel. I'm not blaming him for not being as good as he used to be, but Iggy, this should be his last season on the team, and he should not be featured. He should be the number 3 wide receiver, and Ricky Pearsall should be a kick returner, and Ricky Pearsall should be the number 2. He was their first round pick, for God's sake. He's good.
Right. And this is his last, Debo, this should be his last year on the team. Start phasing him out. He's not helping on the field or in the locker room or in any way.
No.
So
have we run out of sins?
I think we did. That was 35 minutes and 45 seconds of sins for Kyle Shanahan. And there's 5 games left. Did I count that right? Yeah. No. They're 5 and 6. There's 6 games left. There's a lot more time for him to commit more sins.
Right. He's a serial sinner. Hey, Iggy. They could make the playoffs if they win their stinky division. I mean, it's up for grabs. I don't think the Rams have a chance, but anyone else does. They could win the division and get into the playoffs. That would not exonerate Kyle, but they could do that. But Iggy, a few weeks ago, I said it's possible they're a 10-7 team. Iggy, I don't think they're a 10-7 team.
It's possible they're a 7-10 team.
Yeah, it's possible.
Yeah, probably more likely at that point.